everyone, welcome back. This is Denise, and today we got a special little challenge from SketchBox. They sent me an email saying, hey, you want to do something that's a little bit outside your comfort zone that you don't normally do? And I said, sure, it's always up for a fun little challenge. You know, on this channel especially, I'm always setting up the new day, like, what can we create today? And this is kind of fits right along in with some of those things that we do. So this is the SketchBox Special Edition Urban sketching box. And so it's urban sketching, and you guys know that drawing is not usually what we do here on this channel. We do abstracts and stuff, but I thought always fun, and I love their special edition boxes. They're super creative in some of the things that they do, and so I thought, yeah, why not? Let's just see what we can create in this box today. And I've scooted it over so I can pull out what we got here and check it out. And so my understanding on the urban sketching is this is something that you could take with you out drawing, and I'll probably draw here on my table because it's a little bit easier than trying to film myself out somewhere sketching and doing stuff. But let's see what's in the urban sketching. So we've got a yummy SketchBox signature wooden watercolor palette, the travel palette, with 15 colors in it. High quality watercolors are light, fast, and a great way to capture the world around you. Get out there and start sketching. Okay, super cool. Let's open this and see what our little urban sketch box watercolor box is. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh my gosh, look at that. SketchBox signature. That is a gorgeous little box. Oh, look at that. Oh! Look at how pretty that is. Oh my goodness. Okay, I already see these are some really beautiful dark earthy kind of colors. And I've seen little travel-y things like this before. And we can take our little clip and we can put it right there to kind of steady it. And we can clip it to our paper when we're out. I'm loving that. And then we've got a fun little mixing palette over here. Okay, that's pretty creative. I'm impressed. Okay, so we also have Derwent line marker. Let's see what we got in here. Okay, so these are little line markers in different colors. Look at this. Let's grab us a little piece of paper. Oh, super nice. Okay, I'm pretty excited about the Derwent line markers. These are 0.3 in size. So nice variety of colors here. Pink, yellow, purple, red, blue, green. Okay, good ones there. What do we got here? We got the Caran d'Ache. This is a water pen, so we can use the water bullet point. Okay, that's pretty cool. It's got a totally different than a brush point. And this is another Caran d'Ache water pen. Okay, we got a brush nib on that one. So we've got a brush and kind of like a bullet point. Okay, that's pretty cool. Little water markers. Okay, that's going to be fun to experiment with. So you put water down here and you squeeze the water out, and that's how you use that with the watercolor pens. This is kind of fabulous for a travel set. And then we've got another detailer tip water brush. Oh, cool. This one is by Zig. Oh, look at that. Oh, and you got like a super large well for the water and a nice little brush tip there. Okay, that's pretty nice. So you can have quite a bit of variety with your water markers. And then we have got the mango liner in the white. Ooh, I like that. Try to get that started real quick. Ooh, yeah, let me get something with some color on it. Ooh, yeah, look at that. Oh, I like anything that's got like a good white to it. And that's a pretty good white. Okay, I'm excited. This is a pretty awesome travel. Okay, so let's see what paper we got. We got the Arches, which Arches is super nice, but this is the hot pressed, 140 pounds, 6 by 10. So I am actually very excited to play and give these a go. And very nice paper. Okay, we're not gonna draw on this quite yet because I want to real quick see what colors I've got. Which I could do that like on the last page. We could just go ahead real quick on the last page before we get to the urban sketchy stuff. Let's go ahead and kind of get those ready. I'm gonna go put some water in my water brushes and we'll real quick do a swatching, and then the rest of the book I'll save for some sketching, so I'll be right back. It's been a long time since I've looked at water brushes, and these actually could fill up with the water that I had on my table. So if you have like a little cup of water that you take with you, these are super easy to fill up with that because it's got like a little plunger back here, and you basically put this down in your water and suck the little plunger up and it fills it up, and then you've got a water brush ready to use, and both of those do that. This one I thought, well, I should be able to fill this with water when I'm out, so I actually just kind of squeezed the air out of it and then sucked water in from my cup, and then I had a full water brush. So got to be creative with some of these when you're out, and just have a little disposable, like collapsible cup of some water maybe, and then you can just keep filling your brushes up with the waters. So let's see what we got here. I'm gonna have let me get a little scrap piece of paper and see what we've got going here. Never used one with a tip like this. That's kind of interesting. You can squeeze it and get the water out and move it around. And then cleaning wise, I'm gonna have to research this a little bit because it does look like you would keep water on that. It's not like a brush. Or we could just keep going with the water and squeeze it out like that. That's very interesting. I've not, so it'd be good for drawing and maybe some detail marks, and maybe, maybe if we're doing something, we could get and draw with the watercolor. So that's pretty cool there. It does keep the water in there, so that's kind of different and interesting on that. Okay, this is definitely going to be just a little junk page, I guess, but that's okay. Kind of figure out what we're doing, and then you can squeeze the color out and the water out with that. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely something kind of new here with these brushes, because I haven't really used the water brushes all that much. I have several, but it hasn't really been something that I've played with all that much, and so this is kind of an interesting way to start figuring out how to use these, how to not completely saturate your paper with water that you didn't mean to do, how to clean that brush out by just kind of squeezing some water through it. Okay, I gotcha. All right, let's do some color sampling now that we have done some drawing sampling. So I'm going to pull another page around. Gotta maybe dry this page off. Because it's kind of good to do your sampling on the pages that you're going to be working on, because if I did that sampling on, say, cold press watercolor paper, I'm not going to get the same result as I do with the hot press. Just dry that enough to flip a page around. And we'll go ahead and swatch all of our colors here. I'm going to use this brush because I like the bigger brush there. Okay. And I did just kind of wet that down with, say, a little spritzer. So if you got a little spritzer that you can carry with you, that'd be good. Okay, I'm getting watercolor everywhere. Okay, we got it pretty black. Ooh, look at that color. Oh, I wasn't quite seeing purple out of that. What would be good with something like this is if you did a little swatch sheet that you could laminate that was like this size. So I might do that for myself, and then I'll have a little baby swatch sheet to go along with all my colors here. Ooh, these are some pretty colors. I like how these are not just all bright. And you've got like a range of lovely kind of earthy tones. This is nice. All right, so let's go ahead. I've almost used all my water just kind of playing. So I'll just suck some more water in there. And then that kind of gets rid of our air. And now we got a full brush again. And then we'll do these last three colors. And I'm just pushing the little soft push thing right here to get these a-going. And then just kind of squeezing it out on my towel here to clean the color out. So I've got fresh color instead of contaminated color. Look at this color. Okay, we all know Opera Pink from all the different color lines that does the bright pink is a real favorite for a lot of people. So that right there is a gorgeous color. I'll let these continue to dry a little bit, but look how pretty these colors are. That is a lovely urban sketching set. And I love that they have these kind of darker earthy tones, because that fits right in with drawing houses and trees and giving you a variety of things that you could do that are natural and kind of out when you're drawing. But then you also have a few colors of brightness and the pop of pink. Oh my goodness. Okay, now I just got like super excited about the little set of colors in here. And if I was going to take this out with me, I would take a little spray bottle like this to be my water source, because I could fill up my water pens with the water bottle, and I could spritz my watercolors with it to activate them. And it's the perfect like small size, not to be overwhelming. So that would be my water source for the couple of things that I would need. I'd also carry like some type of cloth or shop rag or something that I could use to wipe my brush off with, to just have in general. And then you can squeeze and clean your brush as you're going. And then the rest of this could go into like a little bag. So super cool. All right, so I also want to, I was letting that dry a little bit. I also want to see what our little pins are. So we're going to go ahead real quick and swatch the, ooh, that red one's a good one. Real quick and swatch these out. Oh, these are super good. I'm excited to try. I've not tried the Derwent line markers. Yeah, I love those. And we did go ahead and give a little test there of the white. Look at that. These are good. Okay, so there we go. Now we have a little sample of everything that came in the kit and the paper, and we sampled it on the paper, so it won't be surprising what this is going to look like when we start using it and sketching stuff. And I'm pretty excited about this set. I'm going to actually go out and take some photos of some houses around town. I also have some pictures at Oakland Cemetery, which is one of those historical cemeteries with pretty mausoleums. And so I'd also kind of like to dig through my photos and find those from all the times that I had been down there with the photography clubs shooting photos, and just see like what can we find to urban sketch. All right, so now that we got our sampling done, I'll be back with some fun things to draw. So I went out looking around town and taking some pictures of different things that I found interesting, and I also pulled up some old trip pictures that I took in Charleston. I think these were in maybe 2017. Yeah, 2017. Because at that time I was heavily into photography and wanting pictures of windows and doors and buildings. And I had to go back through my 200,000 pictures or photo archives of different things I've taken pictures of over the year to find these, because I happened to think, haha, I'm going to do some lovely architectural drawings. What better place than somewhere like Charleston or Savannah or some of these fun historical cities. And I also went to visit a friend of mine on the other side of town and got to look around at the Marietta Square and take some pictures in the square of different details and things that I thought were beautiful, and some old houses, and just to give myself some inspiration. It's not my goal to draw things as they are, but I'm really interested in wonky houses and fun wonky storefronts, and just the interest that you get from old city centers, and some other lovely things like boats. It's a photography finished boat picture that I did years ago from a Savannah trip. But look at that. Oh, so much detail that we could get out of that. We could draw the window as one of our drawings. We could do the detail of that lovely iron window grate there, and we could do the whole building, and we could do a detail of the door and the lamp coming down in front of the door. So all kinds of juicy, lovely things. We could do a detail of the architecture, this part of the molding. So good. So many things in that one. Oh my gosh. Okay, that one got me excited. So I've got my collection of reference photos that I plan on using, but not first. We're going to do this first. So what I like about this thing is you could kind of station your drawing piece on one side. Got to catch it up underneath there. Hang on. Let me get it where it's on my paper. There we go. You could position that so that it's stationary and you're using it. Maybe pull it down closer to that so you're not painting on your paper here. And then you could paint on this side. You could position it on the back side of what you're doing and put it here. So I really love how they have the clip in here that stabilizes your palette when you've got it open. I love that. And I love that there's a little mixing palette here. And I'm probably, for a moment, I'm going to use that when we're painting, but I think while I'm doing this project, I'm going to get a little bit larger mixing palette. Just a plate for the moment, because I want to explore the colors. So I have just put myself a grid out here, and I thought maybe I would do a little bit of color mixing just to kind of give myself an idea of what these colors can do for us and how we can do them. I'm gonna take my little mini spray bottle, which I would carry with me if I were out actually doing this on site, which would be fun to do it on site, but it's very hard to film on site and carry you along and paint and have everything going on at the same time and not be in everybody's way. So that's why I'm doing it here in my studio for today. But I'm gonna just put each of the colors down this way and each of the colors across this way, and then I'm going to mix them in this grid to really give myself a good idea of what colors I can use and get out of this palette, which, you know, I used to not do color grids. You know, it was a pain and so much work, but now I'm just not in a hurry like I have been for years and years and years. And so now I'm like, oh, I see the value in this. And what's so nice about having a water brush, you can just have a paper towel that you carry with you, and you can just clean that brush right off by gently squeezing the water through, and then you're ready for your next color. So I love that about this set. It's very transportable. You could carry this in your bag. There's no excuse for not, I need to put that up there, hang on. No excuse for not creating on the go, because now you have a little tiny travel set that's perfect to fit in your bag. So I'm going to go ahead and just fill out my grid, and then as I go, I'm going to kind of match the grid up. Whatever's on this line, I'm going to mix it with whatever's on this line to get a full range of our colors. And you could even do like solid color, transparent color. I mean, however your favorite way to do a grid is perfect for something like this. You're just giving yourself an idea of how this can be used. And my grid's not perfect. I don't want to get hung up on perfection here. Done is better than perfect. It's just to give yourself an idea of what your paints can do when you're out going. You've already explored them, you've done some color mixing, and you're like, oh yeah, I've got this. I now know my colors and my tools and how to use them. It's a perfect chance to explore your water brushes and what they can do for you. And so I do actually enjoy an exercise like this now more so than I ever have in the past, because now I'm like, oh, I'm just not in a hurry and I can create and have some fun. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in this grid. I'm going to speed this up a little bit because this is just more of a mindful figuring out what your colors can do kind of exercise, and then I will chat with you when we're done doing this. All right, I got to the very end, thank goodness. And look at the amazing range of colors that we got out of just these 15 colors. And what I really love about the range and the watercolors themselves, they were nice and pigmented. They were easy to activate. It didn't take much water at all to really get in there and get some creamy watercolor going. And so that was amazing. I really actually enjoyed these watercolors quite a bit. And I've just taped these lines off. I'm trying to use just what we got today in our little kit on our stuff, but I did want these to be kind of uniform, and so I'm just using some graphic tape to tape that off. It was just the thinnest tape that I could find at the store. And it's not perfect. The goal for me is not to be perfect. It's more to give myself an idea of how this paper that I'm using reacts with my paint. So when I take this around and travel and such, I'll know exactly how they work. I got a lot of good use in using the pen and how the pen picks up the color and how much water to squeeze out when you're squeezing it here on the squeeze. So that was very informative to do this fun little practice with that. And I just eyeballed these squares. I did not measure them out exact. Wonky grid was alright, but I didn't want it to be so wonky that all of them ran into each other. I wanted them to be a tiny bit of like wonky uniform. Oh, come here, let me have this tape. Here we go. So I'm just going to go ahead and peel our tape real quick and then take a look at some of these colors we got. Alright, so there we go. And really, as you keep going and you do your chart, I did black and whatever the color was going down the center, so I could see how black mixed all the way down and a diagonal. But I also tried, as I was going, to do the darker color over here. So if I mixed a color, I wanted it full strength over here, and then maybe wipe that off on my cloth and do the lighter color over here, so it goes from light to dark, and you can see the variation in color and vibrancy. And you know, there's a million more colors that you could get out of just these few colors, because I was simply taking one color, mixing another color into it, and then putting that color here. There could be, you know, 10 variations of that individual mixture. You could have, you know, more of one shade or more of the other shade, and you could do those in, you know, graduated steps if you wanted to. But my main goal here was just to be like, what is an about range of colors I can get that I can refer back to and say things like, ooh, I love this kind of deep tealish, I don't know, it's really the most gorgeous color, that one right there. And I wouldn't have got that color if I hadn't mixed brown with the brighter blue. But look how pretty that is. Really, look how pretty all of the colors mixed with the brown are. So if you're looking to do something that is very cohesive and all the colors kind of blend in, even though they're all very bright, and maybe over here they're very jarring. If you'll pick a main color, we'll call it the master color, the mother color, that'd be like the mother color method. You could pick the one color, mix that one color in with every other color, and then you have a very harmonious color palette. And I love the brown line, but every one of them now is a very harmonious set of colors, because we have a master color mixed in with all the colors. So if you like to work in that kind of way, that's the way you could do that. Pick a line, and whatever that main color is, you add all the colors to it, and that's the range of colors that you'd be working in for that project. And now I can go across the top, write the colors on there, because these do have names on them. We've got tawny, saffron, rose, purple, ocean, sky, fern, basil, Dijon, acorn, smoke, black, teal, wheat, and cherry. So I can write that across here. I can write across the side that these were my SketchBox colors from the custom wooden watercolor travel palette. And then I am ready to paint in the rest of this book different things. So I've got one color still drawing. I did put light pencil marks at the bottom, just giving myself enough room to allow for all 15 colors. So I'll just erase those. I got a little bit of wet color down here. So now I'm going to get out one of our travel pictures, and maybe we could do a little urban sketch here. And so I'll be right back when this color dries. So when I do urban sketching, I actually start out with pencil, just to kind of block in where I want stuff to go. So for instance, I have this set of buildings that was part of a historic house tour that you could do in Charleston. And so I just kind of roughly kind of blocked in stuff, and my goal is not to be perfect or straight lines, but you could like add something like a paper ruler or small ruler to, or even just like a real thick piece of paper that you've got could be your ruler. Another piece of watercolor paper could be your ruler if you wanted to get straighter than I'm getting. But my goal in urban sketching is wonky. So I kind of sketch out some ideas, or like here's one that I really liked with this house, and Here we go. And I'm kind of just not even trying to get things in perfect proportion, just trying to lay out what is there. So for instance, here we have a tree, kind of on this side, we have some fun planters, we have a fun door with a light beside it, we've got a window with a window box and some type of probably attic air up there, and some more trees, and a iron gate coming down here. We've got like a little bunny rabbit that we could have detailed down there. We've got a decoration on the door that I could have done. I could come and detail these trims. I could do like a detail of the trim right here. And the reason why I really like pictures that you take of maybe something you've seen, maybe you sketch it in person, maybe you take a picture of it, you could come back later and admire some of these aspects that maybe you didn't see in person, like that pretty shell there at the bottom of that trim. You could come back and then later study that a little bit better. And this is just a phone picture, and it was from 2017, so it was an old phone. So it's not going to be perfect, but it definitely gives you a chance to kind of zoom in and look at details and then see, you know, what can you add to your piece. So I thought we would maybe draw one out together and then do some painting and just see, you know, how it is that you could get like an urban sketching to work for you. I love this set of windows. I love this one here. Doesn't even have to be straight, because usually you're looking up at buildings, and so let's do this one. Let's do this one. This is my favorite house, and they've left the paint chipped and scratchy, and I love it so much. So I'm gonna draw that. We're just gonna kind of set that over here, and the only thing I'd add to my travel kit is maybe a pencil and an eraser, because I like to sketch what I'm doing. Maybe a piece of paper to get some straight lines, but my goal is not straight lines, wonky lines, and so I might make them straight and then wonky them up, because why not? And then we will paint and do some drawing and just see what we can get. So I like this one because we've got landscape, and then we could make this wider if we wanted to. And I just start to kind of look at it and judge, what do I have here, and maybe block it out. So we've got some kind of balcony, and then the house kind of comes a little further and kind of comes down. And then that balcony is actually wrought iron, so we could add some wrought iron details in there. This paper, I've noticed you got to be real careful about erasing on it, so the least amount of erasing you could do, the better. Kind of got some iron things coming down, and then right here in the middle I've kind of got a door, so I might just go ahead and just block that door in about in the center. Not looking for anything perfect, I'm just playing, because you know, when you're out there sketching, or even when you come back to do some sketching, it's all about fun and play, and not being like super exact on anything. We've got a lot of trim here, and then we've got the panel, and then we've got the trim, and then we've got the door, and then we've got the trim, and then we've got this that kind of goes across, and thicker trim. And again, I'm going for wonky when we're done, so I'm not worrying about perfection here. Got like a little half oval. Ooh, look how good I did without a template or an architectural scale. I've got little architectural scales from school, but I don't want it to be perfect. I want it to be some wonky thing I did. I did blueprints and CAD and drafting for most of my working career. I have a degree in design and did kitchen bath design for years and years and years. And I don't know, working with blueprints and everything for all those years, it's just made me very anti straight lines. I want everything to be wonky. I love wonky. But it has been years and years and years since I drew, so this was a fun challenge because I don't really get into drawing like I did. I did it plenty when I was younger. It's not really something that I gravitate towards now. I like texture and pattern and color, and I tend to manifest that in abstract work. But it's always kind of fun to step outside your comfort zone and just to play and test out new things. Or if you are a drawer, perfect way to, perfect kit, that's what I'm trying to say, for you that's pulled together that you can have something to take with you out there when you're wanting to go do stuff on location, or have a little kit to put in your bag if you're taking a travel vacation or something. Perfect way to keep art going without having to take all your art supplies with you. So I would probably put this in my bag even for my abstract stuff, because it's very compact set of materials, keeps you focused. You don't get stuck on material paralysis, like you got too many choices, which I love that about it. Okay, I'm just going for fun and wonky, maybe not that wonky, because right now I'm still in my sketchy stage, like just blocking stuff out, kind of getting main details in there. I'm not trying to make it perfect at this point. I'm just trying to say, oh look, there's a door, there's an arch, there's some windows, there's some side lights. What else can we put in here? And then after you've penciled everything in, you could then tighten it up with your pen and ink. We're going to come off the side anyway. Some shutters, and I've got some window detail in here, and you can add as much detail or as little detail when you're sketching as you want. It's really kind of fun to just play and experiment with different styles of drawing and sketching, and maybe you're doing implied glass and implied mullions and stuff here in the window, or maybe you're wanting all those details to be fine and perfect and exact. I mean, it fascinates me what really grabs you when you're out doing stuff and what details you decide to capture. Okay, that's pretty cool. And then this up here, you've got some bars that go up. And then we've got some lovely little scrollies in there that I can see. Not a bunch of them, but enough to be like, ooh, maybe we can include some of those. Close enough. And then we've also, I'm kind of off the page down this way, but that's okay, because I could actually come back in and put a base on this. And then we've got some fun pots over here of some plants that we could add in there. Ooh, fun. We got a pot over here, and then we could also got a tree here, so I could include the tree. I could come off to the side here, and that could be why the house ended there. And maybe get that tree in there some. And again, don't get hung up on, oh, and look at this tree comes across here. Whoa, and it's got flowers and stuff on it. So that would be fun to maybe include those. Okay, good deal. Okay, I feel like we're kind of there. And we could now just play and experiment. And I love that we already played and experimented. There's our inspiration. There's the drawing that I kind of did from it. I'm going to set this kind of behind me for a second while we do some painting here. Or at least playing. So these are easy to fill the water. You just have to have maybe a little cup of water with you, or maybe a little bottle that you're drinking out of. You can get some water out of it and you just squeeze it, put it in your water, and then let go of it and it fills it up. And takes about 3 squeezes for me to get it full. And then you're ready to go. And I like to kind of pencil it out personally. And then I like to come back on top with details and stuff. And you're not looking for anything specific or perfect. I like how this house has the orange and the pink. So I might mix some of these colors over here on my little side panel just to have some options, maybe even some of this yellow, and just to kind of have those colors that I like kind of out there. And then you don't have to paint the whole thing even. You can imply color. You can paint the whole thing if you want. I kind of like implying color a lot if I'm doing something urban, which I did stuff like this a lot when I was younger, but that's been many years ago. So many years ago that I'm like, do I even remember how to draw? But you know, my channel's all about experimenting and challenging yourself, and I'm like, yeah, it might be fun to get back a little into this, because I actually have a master study that I'm kind of working on for a new artist that's not, that I have, or a master obviously, but I haven't talked about it all. And in that master study there is quite a bit of drawing of room scenes and stuff, and I think I've kind of petered out on it because I was looking at it thinking, oh, I just don't enjoy the drawing as much as the abstract aspect of a lot of things I do. But then when SketchBox was like, hey, you want a new challenge? I was like, hey, okay, we'll give it a little try and see, give it a go and see what we can come up with. And then as I was planning and looking around at fun old buildings, and I was getting kind of inspired again, and so maybe this will get me out of my little slump for the old master that I'm studying, because I like studying what other people, old masters, you know, the painters and things that came before us in history, what they've done and figured out and how they've done stuff. I like learning from them. It's exactly the way that you figure out new things. And so when they had a new challenge for me, I'm like, okay, let's give it a little go. New challenge for us. And even though definitely not my thing that I always do, it's not the thing I'd be the best at, I love this kit that I could then carry around with me to do whatever it is that I would like to do with my art. Or maybe I want to draw, maybe I want to remember some things on trips that I took, and maybe I've got details that I might like. Okay, kind of like where we're going with this. I like this hot pink, this kind of opera pink color, so I kind of want to get a little bit of that in there. And what I like about watercolor and stuff like this, especially in like a little travel palette like this, it's low stress, it's low commitment. You're not working on, you know, a single sheet that you're trying to make some grand piece of art out of. You're trying to remember some lovely things that maybe you had on a trip or something. Let's mix in some brown. See, this is why I like doing that whole color mixing chart before we even, you know, get started, because now I'm not afraid of the colors that I got. I know which colors are located where in the palette, and I can kind of mix some things in with the colors on my color palette and not be afraid of those as if I had never used them before. So that was a really good way to dip your toes into, experiment with these colors. I love how saturated and creamy they are. So this is a nice set. I like it. And it's a nice range of colors, and they're not all super bright, which I also love. Okay, let's get some of that yellow in with some of these oranges. I'm kind of looking here at these pots that I have that where you could see it. I'm looking at these pots right here. and just gonna color in some pots a little bit. And I've got just a paper towel that's here. Also handy because with the water brushes, that's real handy to be able to kind of wipe your brush off on that. Okay, that's fun. Oop. And I also got a darker one over here. Let's see. Yes, let's take that color right there. Got a little bit too much water up there. There we go. Okay, and then I also want some of this greenery to be green, so I might start kind of putting some of these out there. Ooh, and this one actually is a darker shade with that, so I might take some of this kind of dark blues and the greens and mix those, and see, again, you wouldn't have known to do that if you hadn't gone ahead and done yourself a fun little color chart of and experimented with them to begin with. And then we've got some dark shutters, which our black is not black. Let me get a little bit of this off of my palette. There we go. I mean, it is black, but it's black. Let's just, it's okay. It's a good black for what we're doing. And again, I might just imply that they're there, not necessarily all the details. And we've got a black front door. So what I might do at this point is just play with some of my Derwent pens, just giving it some more detail, because there's a lot of white in there, and this is not really a white, like the white would be the paper, but maybe I could use some of these other pieces on it. Let me let this dry for a second. Because I don't have like a true black in here, I might take this blue for my main color to draw with and come back in with some of these other colors. These are the Derwent line markers, 0.3 size. I love these. So far, the little bit of experimenting that I've been doing with these, they're amazing. Look at that, I forgot to paint those shutters. Let's come back over here, hang on. Should have said shutters, paint those shutters on the other side. There we go, close enough. Okay, before I get to these, now that I've thought of that, hello, let's use this other water pen with the fine details, this one that's got this felt tip on it, because I kind of want some detail in the black colored. Still got water in there. And what I like about this tip is you can use this to draw. So even though I was thinking in my mind, gee, I wish I had a black pen, and I'm gonna try not to touch that with my hand. I do have a black pen with this felt tip water pen, and now I can pick up any color that I want, and I can even take like a little sample piece of here, and you see how we can just draw with this pen in any color that we want. So don't despair when you're thinking, wish I had a black whatever's. You do, you got it. Oh my goodness, we're silly. And I was wanting the black because of this wrought iron, just to kind of give some detail to that up there. And I'm mostly following my pencil lines. I can erase anything I haven't drawn or painted over at the end, but really the less amount of erasing you do, the better on this paper. Because this is a hot press paper. It's a little different in texture and the way that it feels than a cold press paper. Oh, there we go. I feel like I need more detail in here, even though I love that they've included this little water pen in there, because now I can really get in there when I'm thinking I wish I had that black pen. I do have a black pen. This is a fantastic little addition, and I haven't used this little felt tip kind of pen before, so I like that it's in this set. And our door is not black, so I am taking some poetic license here with my drawing and stuff here, but I just want to maybe imply some shadow. Not trying to be exact to the drawing. It's more of an inspiration for me. Oh, I like that. I like it. All right, and then, okay, I feel better now about our set and the black. Having this as my little kind of like pencil. I love it. Crazy. All right, so perfect if you need some color out of here that didn't come in our pens. I love it. And we could take some of these little pins. Oh, you know what we can do? Oh, before we get to that, let's go ahead and I'm going to pick up. You just got to squeeze the water, and then you can pick up any of those colors. This has some lovely tree branches with some flowers out here in this fun pink color. I think that's a crepe myrtle. So we've got these lovely pink flowers over here that's blooming on the edge of that. That's pretty awesome that they got that crepe myrtle trained to come all the way across the front of the house, because I was standing in front of it on the road, and that thing kind of did this beautiful framing of the door and the front, and they had to train that to do that. Like, that would not have just naturally done that. So that's pretty creative that somebody had the forethought to think, let's have it come over the door and frame it for the most beautiful thing that we can make it there. Let's just do that all around here. See, another thing I like about this over the fine lines for maybe some extra details like this is you can get a bigger mark than just your little tiny lining there. That's pretty cool, because I also might put in some leaves. I mean, we got all kinds of stuff we can do here. Let's just do it. And then again, I would just squeeze that and yeah, just making sure it's still got water in it. Just wipe that on this little extra cloth. And we're going to pick up some of our green. And your tips will probably stay stained, but that doesn't really matter. You just kind of keep on going. Just throwing some greenery out there so it's not all out by itself. And then we could come back in with any little details or any little drawing, or maybe I want to add some little scribblies in here so it's even more detail in the flowers, for instance. Got some pretty green. I could do that too with the leaves. And actually draw a few leaves in there if I wanted. Could come back down here and add some more detail in with these plants if I needed to. Could use the blue as my drawing details to really tighten things up if I needed to, or just to add some extra in there. And I would pick blue as a second place for black. If I didn't have a black fine line with me, I would pick the blue personally. I don't know why. It's like the next one for me. You could probably do purple, but for me it's the blue as a good detail pen to give myself some drawing lines, especially if I'm doing like whole big houses and I need there to be a separation between the houses. I'd go ahead and pick up the blue personally. And a lot of times too, I found when I was really into drawing and doing a lot of architectural stuff in school, I found it almost easier to just draw with pen and not even bother with pencil to start with, because you have to commit with pen and you don't second guess yourself and you don't erase stuff, and you don't have the same chances to get hung up when you just go straight in with a pen. And I like that. What else do we have? We can come in with some white details because we've got our yummy white pen. I love this white pen. This just sits right on top of all of this really nicely. Like, that's a nice white on top of these. Kind of want to go up here with some of this. Get another layer in there. It's all about capturing the essence of what you were out sketching or what you took a picture of to come back and play with. It's more about, for me, especially with the urban sketching, catching the essence of stuff, not necessarily getting it exactly, like catching the feeling that you had out that day. If it was a beautiful spring day and you've got these lovely pink flowers, and maybe catching that detail. And it's just kind of about experimenting and catching that feeling, not about drawing perfectly or showing, you know, if you're good or if you're bad at the drawing. Because I'd say at this point I'm a terrible drawer, and it doesn't even bother me. It's not what I focus on in art. I don't focus on, can I draw really good? I focus on color and texture and whimsy and what can we do to kind of present a feeling, rather than some of the other things that you might be thinking of. Okay, I feel like for this one, I'm basically there. It was fun to kind of experiment and play with a house that I think is particularly fun and bright and pretty and pink with flowers. And that's kind of the goal that I was going on a fast urban sketch kind of piece. And so, super fun. Hope you enjoyed giving these a little play and seeing what all these colors looked like in a gorgeous grid. Where did I put those? right there. Oh my goodness, they're so beautiful. And I went ahead and wrote that it was the travel palette over here, and I've got my colors across the top so I know what colors I started with. And then just as a fun experiment, giving out our little colors and pieces and pins, a test out with a piece from a vacation photo that I took years ago. Super fun. Oh my gosh. Hope you enjoyed playing and experimenting with me with this fun travel palette. If you use my link in below in the description, you do get extra 10% off. So definitely hit that link. Hope you enjoy experimenting with this, and I'll see you guys next time.